Once upon a Korean time, classical music made its way into the country. And since then, it's given birth to renowned musicians, acclaimed beyond borders. And their stories and others are being brought to light by one Belgian filmmaker. So what is behind this filmmaker's interest in Korea? How does he explain Korea's remarkable advances in classical music? And what is his latest project to mark the 70th anniversary of the Korean War about? Welcome to Issues and Insiders. Today we shed light on a special guest who has been documenting stories about Korea, ranging from its talent in classical music to its poignant history to its current society. For more, I have Director Thierry Loreau here in Korea. It's a pleasure to have you with us, Mr. Loreau.
저도 감사합니다.
Thank you so much for speaking Korean. Mr. Loreau, let's begin with a few words then regarding your latest visit here in Korea. What is the purpose of this particular trip?
Actually, it's a beginning of a big adventure. Tomorrow we filmed the first day of shooting of my first movie in Korea, but not about classical music. This time it will be completely different. It's about 5 people who are double identity, Korean and Belgian. And so we will reunite them all here in Korea. They will all come and they will talk together about was it difficult or not to have 2 identities.
I see. So this particular film that you're making is to mark the 70th anniversary of the Korean War. Could you tell us a bit more about the film itself?
Yeah, of course. So after the war, of course, the country was really poor. And so now it's a 10th economic power in the world. So in 70 years, South Korea changed a lot. And so I had the idea to find people who could tell the story of the success of Korea and their life. They dedicate their life for Korea. So the first one is Ji Jong-ban. I don't know if you know him. He came in 1959. And he wanted to help the people in Imshil where he arrived, and so the people had no job, nothing to eat. So he imagined to take the milk of goats, and he is the builder of the first cheese factory in Korea, in Imshil. So he became very rich, and then he gave all his money to handicapped people. So he's really respected in Korea. He became Korean. He has a name in Korean. The second is Bae Hyun-jong. She's a nurse. She came in 1972. And she's the first woman who studied medicine in Korea. So she's the first doctor from another country than Korea here. And she has a very big center for medical and social. And everything is free. You don't have to pay. And a lot of doctors want to go there to work with her because, it's good to be benevolent. And then the first one is Julien Quintard. Maybe you know him. He's a TV producer. He's DJ. He's now fighting for the respect of nature and even an environment. He speaks Korean too, and he's really like a Korean now.
So these 3 individuals are Belgians who now live in Korea and work here as well?
Yeah, and so they are Koreans now, really, in their mentality too. So they changed.
And from Belgians to Koreans?
Yeah, and so now I wanted to show 2 Koreans who live in Belgium too, so we can compare the lives they had, so 2 adopted people. Sang-Hoon Dejean, who's a very famous cook. He has 2 stars on Michelin. And Cathy Min-jong, she's an actress in Belgium and the first woman to be director of a theater in Belgium. So they will all reunite here and they will talk about their experiences. I want that it's really human and plenty of emotions.
I see, it sounds impressive. How did you first come across these stories, these individual stories?
First, it's ambassador of Belgium in Korea, François Bontemps, who told me, you know, there are plenty of stories of Belgians here that dedicate their life for Korea and to help the people after the war. So could you do something about that? And so I thought about it, and I thought maybe it would be nice to show Koreans who came to Belgium too. And so the first project changed, of course. Yeah, I really want to know if they have, if it was difficult for them to have two identities. It's really not easy, because when you are adopted, it's not easy to find your way in another country, culture, language. So this is the idea. I think the five are adopted in a way because the three Belgians are not adopted by Korean society.
Right, I see. Mr. Loreau, you previously made 2 documentaries on classical music here in Korea. Could you tell us a bit about those 2 documentaries as well?
Yeah, but since 1996, I filmed the Queen Elizabeth competition in Belgium. It's really important. And so at the beginning, there were not so many Korean musicians in the first round or second round. And then year after year, there were more and more and more until 2009. There were 5 out of 12 in the final. It was crazy. And nobody understood why, because nobody studied this subject. So I came here with my camera and my team, and we made a movie. It was called the Korean Music Mystery, because it was a mystery for us, maybe not for you, maybe you knew. And so it was a big success. But after, the Koreans started to win this competition. First, there were a big number, but now they win all 2 times Van Cliburn, 2 times Busoni, 4 times Queen Elizabeth competition, Chopin, so many. So I wanted to do a new movie to understand why suddenly they win and before they didn't win. So there was a change, I think. And so I made a second movie called K-Classics Generation, because for me, the classic music, it's like K-pop, K-food, K-beauty, the Hallyu. That's what's important for me to call it K-Classics.
I see. I understand it took quite some time to make these 2 documentaries. Could you explain that for us?
But it's not more than another movie. But of course, when you have the idea of the movie, it takes 1.5 years to do it really, to film and to shoot. I had facilities because I know all the musicians I took in the movie. I selected them because they were in Queen Elizabeth competition, and because we became friends. You have to know that every year I film the competition, so I film the videos of introduction of the 12 finalists. So every year there are so many, so we became friends. And Im Ji-young and Hwang Soo-mi, they said, okay, I won't be in. And Chloe Moon Ji-yeon too, and Kim Yoon-ji too. So it was not so difficult. Maybe it was one of my easier movie to make. But of course, it was difficult to find a good moment to film all together in Korea and in Germany where they live. So that was the most difficult part.
Right, I see. Personally, Mr. Loreau, how do you explain Korea's remarkable feats in the classical music arena?
If we come back in history, so there was a first wave of Korean classic, but 60s, 70s, 80s, they went to the States and Europe because it was not possible here. No good teachers, it was not the good moment. And then the second wave started in 1988 after the democratization of the country. So all these Korean musicians who made career in the West came back, and they created the Korean National University of Arts and SNU too. Suddenly the teachers were very good, and so wow, after just 3-4 years, suddenly the Korean musicians were really so many. Since 2009 at the Queen Elizabeth competition, there are between 20 and 30% every year. It's crazy. So, and so I think what it changed for the third generation, the winners, is that the teacher changed their way to teach. For me, it's a principal reason, because they understood that the musician, the two students, they are all different. And so there is not only one way to teach, there is plenty of ways. You have to adapt to the child. Every child is unique, so you have to find a way to develop their originality, their identity, so the public will come, the audience. If they play all the same way, nobody will come at the end, it will be boring. And so, secondly, I think it's emulation, you know, when you saw Cho Sung-jin, Im Ji-young, or wow, you have a good model in front of you, so you want to become like them. So it's in Korea, it's young too. It's only the young people who like classical music. It's completely the opposite in Europe. It's only old people, so it's crazy. But I think it's emulation, and then of course. The project of the child becomes the project of all the family. So the mother stopped to work, she's a coach, and the father works more to get money, to pay the best teachers. And I think these three reasons are the good reason why they win now.
Right, tailored education and the support of the whole family then.
Exactly.
I also have another question, and this is a personal question though. Do you believe that practice makes perfect in classical music, or do you have to be born with the talent?
No, I think you don't have to be born. Yeah, of course you must have talent, because when you see Im Yeon-chan, who won at 18 the Van Cliburn, he started at 7. It's not possible in 11 years to play like this, so there is something, of course. But I think the most important is to get parents who dedicate to you. So you have to live in a cocoon, and the teachers too must be protective and not as rigorous and disciplined. It's more to protect. And so after they want to practice 9-10 hours a day, because they have a goal in life, they have a passion. So I think, yeah, it's a reason.
Right. Mr. Loreau, in an interview with the Korean Times a while back, you claimed that the center of classical music is shifting to Korea. Now, that being said, what more can Korea do to perhaps cement this reality?
I think you are already at the top, so I think what I think really is we need, I think classical music needed this new freshness, this young, this youth coming from Korea. So I think Korea gives a kick to Europe. Hey, wake up! It's here that classical music here, and it was born in your country. So wake up!
So this group of young audiences here in Korea is perhaps breathing new life into classical music.
They bring a new life and a new. I think in Europe, the young consider that classical music is for museum. It's for all people. When you go to a concert, nobody has less than 50 years. Here, it's the opposite. We filmed concert with Im Ji-young. There were 3,000 people, but nobody more than 35. So it's crazy. That's why I say that you found a way, I think, to show music differently and to play differently with so much passion and identity. And that's, I think, it's thanks to the teachers who understood how to teach now.
I see. Mr. Loreau, what appears to have perhaps fueled your interest in Korea and its stories? I should have asked you this earlier, but I'm asking you this now.
Yeah, but I came here in 2010 to present a movie at the Chechen Musical Movie Festival. And I became, in 1 minute, I became in love. I was in love with Korea. So I love the people, the way to be kind all the time and to feel you like you are a prince or something. We don't have that in Europe. So, yeah, I love the people more than maybe the mountains, the sea. I don't know. I think I have more friends in Korea than in Belgium. It's crazy, but it's like this. I feel really in empathy with them. I feel it's so wonderful how they can be strong mentally and concentration. They have a passion and they live it until the end. That's what I love. And this country, we came from nothing to where they are now with this value. I respect this. I would like that in Belgium too, we dedicate the money to culture and education, but we don't do. So, but you do, so you give the good example, and that's what I like here.
I see. Are you hoping that your documentary, the one about the 70th, to mark the 70th anniversary of the Korean War, will perhaps include these aspects that you've mentioned, the fact that Korea went from a poverty-stricken country to a leading nation in terms of technology as well as classical music? Are you hoping this will be included in your documentary? And if that's the case, Mr. Loreau, I wonder, how do you hope to include it in your documentary without giving away too much information about the upcoming project?
No, but of course, the three Belgians who came to live here, it's three different generations. Of course, so they can explain how it was when they arrived in '59 until Julian Quintert in 2004. So we will have videos from the back, from archives, to explain the success in 70 years of Korea. It's like a red line, or it's important. We show 5 people, but more important behind it's the story of Korea. We will always keep that in mind, of course.
I understand this next question might be a bit difficult. From the 5 stories that you have to share with us in this particular documentary, which story perhaps struck you the most?
Oh, I feel so close to all 5 now, so it's difficult. But I think maybe the most unbelievable story, the story of Chi Chong-wan, who came in a country where everything was to be rebuilt.
Yeah, to make the cheese factory.
Yeah, because in Korea, nobody eat cheese at this time, even not milk from animals. So it was crazy a little, no? And then it worked only because the pizzeria arrived at this moment. And so they needed cheese. And so they bought all the cheese he could do. And suddenly, wow, you should see the factory in Imshil is huge.
I have to admit, that was the first story that struck me as well, because as soon as you mentioned it, I thought it was very, very interesting.
And in Belgium, and it's crazy too, because of the three people, the 3 Belgians who came to Korea, we don't know them in Belgium. And maybe the 2 Koreans who came to live in Belgium, they are not so well known here too. So it's strange. Maybe it's they didn't live their destiny. The 3 Belgians had this destiny in Belgium and the other in Korea. So they live the life of the other. If you see what I mean, it's crazy. It's a little schizophrenic, but
it's very interesting. It's very intriguing, I have to say.
Yeah, and so we're starting tomorrow. We reunite them all, and they will talk about. It was funny because maybe the Belgian who became Korean will explain Korea to the Korean adopted who
went to live in Belgium.
And vice versa.
Right, I do. And finally, Mr. Loreau, before you leave us today, do share with us a bit about your other projects in the near future.
It's already a big project. So we will film now around until April 15, and then we will do the editing in March, September and October. So it takes all my time. I film all the concerts for my television, the Belgian television. So I film concerts, and I film the Queen Elizabeth Commission soon. Again, it will be wonderful because 28% of the contestants come from Korea, South Korea, and so it's 18 out of 63. It's crazy. So I will meet plenty of new Korean musicians. I'm very happy.
Right. And before I let you go, Mr. Loreau, could you tell us a bit about your musical background as well?
Yeah, I've always been in the music. I'm oboe player, and I make a master in university about musicology. So that's my background. But then I was hired by my company now, and they wanted that I film the concert because I knew music. And so now I became like director too, because of course after 40 years working for that, I think I have two,
Jobs.
Yeah, two jobs in one. Even if I never studied the TV or director in school, but of course it comes with the time.
Right, and for all of us here in Korea, of course, we are enjoying your movies about Korea, your documentaries about the country itself. Thank you so much, Mr. Loreau, for your time today. It's a pleasure to have had you with us today.
Me too.
Right, well, that brings us to the end of this week's editions of Issues and Insiders. Thank you for watching. Have a good weekend. See you next Monday.